Hi there. Are there things that you wish you had known about sex before you got married? Well, that's what we're talking about today. This is actually part 5 of an entire series. It's designed for married couples who are saying, oh my goodness, that would have made things so much easier, but we can still do this now. It's also designed for individuals who want to get married and want to be prepared. And I know this information is missing from a Christian perspective. And in the typical Christian circles, these conversations are not happening. That's why I love to hold this space and just invite God into sexual intimacy, invite Him in our understanding of it. If it's your first time to join, my name is Mary Whitman Ortiz. I'm a Christian sex educator, relationship coach, and author. And I invite you to watch again. Please subscribe and like and share, because if this is meaningful to you and you know other Christians that can benefit, please let's be pioneers together and take back sexual intimacy from the way the world has distorted it and to take it back into the original design God had. So specifically, this video is about how to plan for sexual intimacy variety. And I want to break this down into some categories of sexual intimacy, some cautions about those very categories, and then some steps you can take to bring it all together. So what are these categories? I look at romantic as a category for sexual intimacy. And yes, this is candlelight dinner, this is flowers, this is special words, notes, I mean the works. And those are beautiful and meaningful and necessary and definitely blessed by God. But they're not the only type of sexual intimacy. Even though that's what the media portrays, we are going to give the full story of how God designed intimacy for marriage. And so another category would be, just in everyday terms, I'm going to call it a quickie. So quickie sexual experiences in marriage are just as blessed and just as honoring. It just means it's a shorter amount of time and it can still be meaningful and satisfying and a blessing to both spouses. And then we have a third category for sexual intimacy, and I would call this a one-sided emphasis. So different spouses have different needs at different times. Truly, we are alive and individuals, and so there's no cookie cutters here. And it may be that one spouse needs or desires some extra attention. Maybe they have some specific requests. That is totally fine and honoring. And it could be that this is all about the sensation, the pleasure, the orgasm. It could be this is all about the closeness, the snuggling, those deep words of affirmation. All of those experiences are valid and a part of God's design. But there are some cautions, and I need you to understand these cautions because they can slip up on us. You know, as Christians, I think one of the ways that sexual intimacy is different is that we are not flowing from a selfishness, from a me first mindset. And so that determines how things play out if you're not selfish. Also, what can make things different for Christians is done with respect, equal say, equality among the spouses, and it's a mutually enjoyed experience. Even though there's differences, enjoyment that is of mutual consent and design, Those components make Christian sexual intimacy in marriage unique and different from the world. But even within that, there are some cautions. So the first one is you can't expect that romantic sexual intimacy every single time. Truly, it might lose some of the fun if that was the standard every single time. So understand it is one option, not the only option, and you are just as loved and valued even if that heavy romantic push does not happen. Another caution, it can't be a quickie every single time. That might make you aware that your emphasis was on the physical aspect too much. We do enjoy the physical aspect, that's part of God's design, but there is the emotional and the spiritual aspect of sexual intimacy in marriage. So keep that in mind. What is the driving force? Some people use sex as a substitute for all types of intimacy. And it will be a short change, and your spouse might feel used, and you won't get everything either that God had planned. Another caution for you is that it cannot be always one-sided. One spouse wants it this way, and all of the shots being called, and so that's not mutual, that's not respectful, and we need to be aware that that one-sided emphasis happens in balance, and it is included as a part of the variety. So what are the 3 steps that you need to cover that sexual intimacy variety so that it's balanced and it's good for both spouses? First of all, I want you to plan special times regularly. Now, I know there can be a pushback with that word plan and sex. Really, are those used together? Isn't it always supposed to be spontaneous? Well, anything that is worth value is worth intention. And so when you plan those special times to be together, you are just inserting intention. That is a wonderful message of telling your spouse they're worth it. And our marriage is worth it. So it's a lot of respect being imparted into your marriage when you are intentional by planning. Another step is to be flexible. We talk about the plan, we want it in place, but life happens. And so maybe your spouse is ill, maybe your spouse or you have extra responsibility and you just don't have the energy to participate in sexual intimacy like you planned or like you wanted to. So be flexible. The beautiful thing about Christian marriage is that we're planning longevity. We're planning for your entire married life together. This is not just a one-night stand. I have to have what I want or else. So if there's a week or if there's a month where your sexual intimacy experiences are different than ideal, it's okay because you have a lifetime of marriage to cover. And then the third step, which is truly meaningful, talk often. That's right. You need to have regular talks about what you like, about what you want to change, about requests that you have. The more that dialogue and communication is going, the better your sexual intimacy in marriage will be. Now, I may have challenged you some, and you may need some extra support. That scheduling thing might just have blown your mind. So if you want some extra support, I will absolutely pray for you. Drop that word plan in the comments and I'll know, yes, I'll pray for you that you can be more intentional by planning for sexual intimacy to be this wonderful experience in your marriage. Thanks so much for watching today, and remember, Father God wants to lavish His love on every area of your life, including sexual intimacy in marriage.